tuning into the live feed or watching this on YouTube or wherever you're seeing it archived. I'm here in downtown Washington, D.C. today, and for those of you that have been following the Jazz Process videos, this is 10th in a series. If you want to check out, the first video actually explains everything about what's going on here. But the idea is I've got a big gig coming up, and as I thought about learning a bunch of music and learning some new instruments, to sort of talk out loud a little bit as I'm learning this stuff. I'm not here to show off. I'm actually here to try to figure this stuff out in front of all of you, and I hope this is interesting. I hope it gets some thoughts going. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this video or any of them. But the gig that I have coming up is with the Baltimore Symphony, 5 gigs in December, so just a couple weeks from now, and it's going to be a jazz interpretation of the entire Nutcracker, the 90-minute Nutcracker. So this is actually a world premiere. This has never been done before. My friend Paul Murtha wrote the music. It's fabulous. It features saxophone quite a bit, and so I've got a lot of learning to do. So now I'm going to be improvising somewhat in the style of Johnny Hodges on the alto. I'm playing tenor, so Paul Gonsalves. I'm playing baritone, so Harry Carney. And if you look at some of the previous videos, I talked a little philosophically, sort of thinking through how much of that I'm going to do. But the bottom line is those guys at that time were improvising with a particular style. So a very melodic sounding improvisation. We could sit here all day and talk about what that is. But we won't do that. What I want to do is show you a great way to practice. This is so good for, I use this in my own teaching, for the most beginning of students, but the thing is it's an amazing exercise for grad students. I use it with my grad students at Towson University back in the day, and it's a butt kicker. And so here's the idea. I'm going to play, let's say, 4 choruses of When the Saints Go Marching In. I'm just picking a tune that everybody probably knows. The idea is I want to base my improvisations on the melody. So essentially the history of jazz. That's where improvisation came from, right? From people embellishing the melody so personally. So like someone like Bix Beiderbecke, Louis Armstrong, he had that personality. People could tell, oh, that's Louis embellishing that song. To the point where the embellishment, one day, we don't know what day it was, became a solo. It wasn't the melody anymore, it was a new thing. So just that concept, just understanding that idea of essentially where jazz improvisation came from is interesting. It's not harmony-based like we tend to learn and teach. It's melody-based. So I'm going to play 4 choruses of When the Saints Go Marching In. The idea is chorus 1 is going to be as if I'm reading a lead sheet. It's not going to sound great. There's not going to be any interpretation whatsoever. Second chorus, I'm going to add a little more. Third chorus, a little more. Fourth chorus, a little more. So the idea is, in 4 choruses, I hope you're going to be able to hear the melody. If you tune into this in the middle, you should hear When the Saints Go Marching In at all points. So the idea is I'm basing it on the melody. So let me just do a little bit of this for you. Thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in now, Jeff Antoniuk here. When the Saints Go Marching In. First chorus, as square as can be. A bit. Embellish more. Embellish more. All right, so the beginning was obviously the melody. Second chorus, I added some syncopation. Maybe I added a note or two. Third chorus, you get the idea. So it went and went. By that fourth, or maybe it was 5 choruses, the melody was getting hidden. If you came into the middle of the video, you may not have known what I was playing. But that progression, and that teaches us so much. First of all, I wasn't thinking harmonically. I may have played a harmonic device, but I wasn't thinking I'm going to play a harmonic device. I was thinking melodically, the melody of the tune and my knowledge of that device. So it's interesting. It's a different headspace. And so many of us have never practiced that way, never thought that way. There's another thing, and this is especially for like the pros and the grad students and everything. Lots of times a bad habit is we come out playing everything we know in the first measure, and then we keep playing everything we know for 18 choruses, and the solo has no depth, no dynamics, it doesn't build, it's just sort of, we're getting beat down with notes, right? So this is great because it teaches you editing. It teaches you to do this slowly. So I challenge you to do 10 or 15 choruses like this, and each chorus builds. You can't, in the 4th chorus, you can't play everything you know because you've got 11 more choruses to go. It's really hard, and it's really fun, and it's really great. And for me, I'm doing a lot more of this because playing in the style of Johnny Hodges, man, everything he played, it wasn't based on the harmony, it wasn't bebop, intricate playing, but it was intricate in a melodic way. So I'm excited about doing that. So I'm doing lots of practicing like that. I hope that may be interesting. Give it a try. It's so simple. And as I say, it works great for someone who's never improvised before because they don't have to know harmony, right? They just start with the melody. And it's great for the most advanced players out there because it forces us to ground things with the melody. You get the idea. Okay, so one other thing. People have been asking me a bit about what jazz teacher training is. I've mentioned that once or twice. And a lot of the work that I do here in DC is working with adult amateur musicians. It's a community I love working with, and I've developed a huge community. I've worked with over 1,000 musicians, and these are adult folks playing on the side, but some who have gotten very, very good, semi-pros. And if you know a musician that fits into that category in DC, they've either been through the Jazz Band Masterclass program or they know someone that has. I'm happy that it's become that ubiquitous. I'm really proud of it, and I just love serving that community because nobody else is. So over the years, so many people have asked me in other cities, why don't you start something like that here? Or there's nothing like that in Atlanta. There's nothing like that in San Diego. So I never knew what to do with that, and in the last year, I put together a training program. So essentially for jazz professionals in other cities that want to do this work. It's so rewarding, it's lucrative, it feeds the jazz community. It's a great way for a professional to really, kind of dig in and be a business person too. So I'm working with people around the country. I've got a couple people who are out there and doing this already. A great sax player up in Queens who is training with me. And we're going to get this thing going around the country, around the US and Canada. So that's jazz teacher training. If it's of interest to you, if you know a pro who's trying to find their way in their city and try to get something going, this could be interesting. So jazzteachertraining.com. Well, hey, thank you. Jeff Antoniuk, I appreciate you tuning into these videos. You can always find them on YouTube. They're all archived there. And I appreciate it. The gigs that I'm talking about, Baltimore Symphony, are coming up December 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, something like that. So I'm excited to, get some video of that performance, playing in front of a couple thousand people, playing this great Ellington-influenced Paul Murtha orchestration of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker. Thanks a lot. Take care.